Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Michael's Corner. Um, if if you guys get a chance, be sure to check out my socials. Like always, Facebook, Michael's Corner, Instagram at Michael Pam 03, X is at Michael Pam, YouTube is Michael's Wrestling Channel. Um, Tonight, I am bringing on a special guest. He is a former pro wrestler. Um, he is now he's now have his own podcast, which you guys can check out. Uh, I'll leave in description of my guest's podcast tonight and whatnot. Um, he's formerly known as Chris Steele, but now he goes by Chris Jacobson. Um, I have the pleasure of meeting him many years ago at a wrestling show. Um, I did my first interview with him. Chris is just a nice guy, great guy, you know, great wrestler too. So I can't wait till we catch up because it's been 4 years since I had him on Michael's Corner. And that was during the COVID-19 pandemic era. So I am so happy to him on. Bring him on. We got a lot of catching up to do. So I can't wait until I bring him on so that we we can start this interview. So let's not waste any more time. I'm gonna bring him on. Oh, I still can't hear you. Mm-mm. No. No. He's gonna have to take off his headphones.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right,
Now,
dang it. I really wanted to use my microphone and everything.
yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
We got to figure it out. How well is
Yeah.
my audio?
Your audio is great.
Okay, cool. Well, then I'll just sit back and relax and enjoy.
Yeah. You know something? I can't believe it's been 4 years since I had you on.
You know what? So many things have happened since that time. I've had, let's see here. I've been married. I have a kid now. We lost both of our dogs. So I've gone through a lot of things and I've moved to a different house as well. So I've had a lot of changes lately.
Yeah. Yeah, let's first talk about our last interview. Wow. What a difference make. The last time I had you on, I believe it was on I was doing virtual interviews on my Instagram.
Yep.
Then that changed 4 years later. Now you gotta have 1K followers in order to do my Instagram live streams again.
You have
Ain't
to have
that
1,000
something?
followers?
1,000 followers in order to do live streams on
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay, I didn't know that. I'm still working up my numbers on all of those things. So far, the best ones for me have been Facebook and TikTok. So I'm on a different wavelength.
I don't even like Facebook live stream either because I mean it changed. It's like you have 30, it's like after you do your live stream on Facebook, they'll give you 30 days. You'll have to keep it for 30 days because after those 30 days, they'll be deleted.
That's right. That's right. I heard about that new policy
So
change.
I don't like Facebook live stream either, but I chose Zoom.
Show Zoom. Okay.
That's right. Then I can, you know, what I like about Zoom, Chris, is I can get people on just like that with the snap of my fingers, have sit back, have a good interview, and then all of a sudden when we're done, I'll just wait for that Zoom to send me an email of the link so that I
Yep.
could do some of my editing and whatnot.
What are you mostly on? Are you mostly on YouTube? Is that your best one?
My best one, my best one is I'm pretty active on YouTube.
Okay.
That way, it's like I check to see my subscribers and how many views I got so far
Yep.
and whatnot. But also I'm the most active is Instagram.
Okay. Okay.
I'm more active on Instagram.
See, and I
It
don't like that one. I no, I didn't get any good feedback on that one at all.
oh my goodness. I um I post my interviews on Instagram. Holy cow, Chris. I got like over 500 views on
Okay.
then on YouTube. So,
Which interview of yours has gotten the most views on YouTube?
oh, the interview that I did with Trish Stratus.
Okay. How many views did you get on that one?
The last that I checked was pretty much 500, over
Okay.
500, almost 600 views.
Nicely done.
Hmm. So yeah, so let's talk about your podcast. Oh, I gotta say congratulations on reaching your milestone.
That's
That
right. I'm gonna pour a little whiskey for that one too.
woo-hoo, gotta
That's
bring out the whiskey.
right.
So
Yeah,
how
which milestone? The 2 year portion?
yeah, how many followers do you have?
Okay. So let's see here. With Facebook, it's almost at 1,600. And with TikTok, it's almost at 1,200. Instagram, like I said, is not good. That's at like 298 or something like that. And then the last I checked on YouTube was 472. So I get those numbers up because yours, I know you push yours a lot too. So that's really good. I don't know what you're doing to get people to subscribe, but I see you put a little screenshot all the time and ask people to subscribe. And that's probably all you can do.
Hmm. Yeah, so basically, yeah, I do that all the time, and and it's like it's naturally, I also go when I go to wrestling shows and whatnot. I make sure to tell whoever's ring announcing, make sure that they talk about mention me and my YouTube because I got a lot of subscribers, my friend.
Yeah. What are you like 1,700, aren't you, or something like that?
I'm at 1,700 so far.
That's what I thought I
Oh,
saw the last time you posted it.
yeah. So.
So the ring announcers will announce that for you, huh?
Yeah, they do.
That's nice of
And
them.
that helps even more, you know.
Hmm.
So
Anytime you can get out in public and do that kind of stuff, it always helps out the most. And the one thing I found out in the last 2 years is you just got to put it in front of everyone's face, no matter how awkward it may feel. But you just got to push it down their throats, man.
yeah, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's just that I've been on YouTube since July of 2012, and it was at first it was my personal YouTube channel
Hmm.
until I started filming the matches, and then I just posted on my YouTube, and I started. That's how I got my start, is posting those matches, and I got some of the subscribers. And as the years went on, I got even more subscribers. And it's like, wow, people are liking this. And I listen. One thing you got to do, Chris, is you got to listen to your subscribers and your audience. If your audience, and I think we mentioned this in our last interview, but I want to reiterate. So you got to listen to your audience. It's like if your audience telling you you got to get a microphone, guess what I did? I got the microphone.
Get a
And,
microphone.
hmm and a lot of subscribers told me, hey, you holding your phone a lot. Why don't you get a phone stand? So then that way you can sit back, relax. And guess what I did, Chris?
Got a phone stand.
You got that right. hmm And then all of a sudden, people are just started watching and whatnot, because you got to listen to your audience. If
Yep.
someone doesn't like doesn't like what I'm doing, they'll let me know, and then I have to find ways, to say, oh, to fix that, because you got to be able to take, as a podcaster and interviewer, you got to learn how to take constructive criticism.
That's right. That was another question I was going to ask you is how did that go at first? Did you get offended or not really? And you just kind of like, well, I got to do that because that's what they're telling me I should do.
So yeah. So I kind of listen to what they're saying,
Yep.
like if they start to get really offensive and say some stuff, then I'll just remove it and whatnot. Um, but I do listen to my fans and my audience and whatnot, and sometimes I do get bad feedback, but you just gotta learn how to I will use that, like Rhea Ripley. I'll use that negativity as motivation for me to grow as an interviewer and podcaster.
That's good. Do you have do you put yours on Spotify or any of that stuff at all, the audio version?
Um, you know something, Chris? I never thought about that. I I I was thinking about doing that sometime. Sometime this year.
Okay. That's a good idea because it just hits a different audience. But they do say YouTube is the fastest growing for podcasters in general. And obviously, you've been doing this for multiple years, obviously. So that's one thing that you've already gotten down. I just thought maybe you don't want to miss out on a different audience, possibly. But when you go to shows too and do interviews too, don't you? Is that most of them?
Yeah, so when I go to wrestling shows, I do interviews. Like usually, like after the show, I
Yep.
do interviews. I interview the wrestlers and whatnot,
Hmm.
because like my channel is like they want me to keep doing this, because like I'm getting like I look at the views, especially on my interviews.
Hmm.
Um, if I see that if it's jumping up a little bit or whatnot, then I was like, oh my God. Then I have to keep going because I gotta keep doing this because they like they like what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah,
So I just keep at it, you know, because they love to see, more content from me. So that gives me an opportunity to get like even more subscribers than I already am. And
sure.
also too, when I'm filming the matches at some wrestling shows like MIW, Minnesota Independent um, Wrestling, I just film the matches and post them on my YouTube channel. And I do short video clips. That
Yep.
helps a lot too because I started doing that, Chris. And guess what, my friend? I got up to 1K just like that in a day.
Yep. I had that too. So if people were telling me you need to post reels and shorts and stuff like that. And since I've been doing that too, I've gotten some good feedback and also some subscribers from that. So keep doing that because I was told this is from other people who have like 10 million followers. You need to post on everything like 10 times a day. But that's a
Hmm.
lot. That's like a
That's
full-time
a
job.
lot. But like I said, if I see a wrestler do something interesting, then I'll post a short video clip and
Yep.
then I'll post it on YouTube. And then like I just got so many feedback from that, so many views and about 10, 12 people like it. I was like, oh shit, I gotta keep doing this because
Yeah.
you never know,
That's
you know.
exactly right, man. You're on the right path there. Just take all the advice everyone ever gives you because that's all I ever do.
Hmm.
Yep.
So, um, so yeah, since we got a lot of catching up to do, I want to um I want to ask you this because you know this I've been holding it in my head.
All right.
So now that your wrestling days behind you, and now how did you make a your transition from being a pro wrestler to now doing your podcast as well as your other businesses. How did you make your transition from that? So I can
Well,
tell.
I won't ever say that wrestling's not ever going to happen again. It could. I would just need it to be probably the right situation, and then I'd have to get back into ring shape because I don't think I'm there at this moment. But just going off of wrestling and podcasting, they kind of go hand in hand in a sense, but they don't at the same time. And what I mean by that is wrestling is live, it's in front of people. Podcasting isn't. So it's a different kind of adrenaline rush rather than it being live and it's in person. Um, but the one thing I've really enjoyed about doing this is that I'm learning not every single episode, but a lot of episodes, I learn something from someone that comes in. And the thing that you have to do, and the same thing with wrestling, is you have to be able to talk. You can't sit there and say a lot of ahs and and things like that. You have to kind of be steady on the mic. So that's one thing you kind of learn in wrestling is when you have a promo, whether it's 30 seconds or a minute or whatever it is, you can't be on the mic saying And if you ever listen to wrestling promos out of WWE, obviously they're all scripted, so it's pretty easy. But back in the day, you never saw really like The Rock doing that. You never saw John Cena. They always just it was steady, steady, steady. So that's one thing I've really worked at when I started podcasting. The one critique I always got was from my wife. She always said that the next sentence I would start with so, and then I would go on with my sentence. So I've taken that critique as well and tried to have formulated interview questions ready to go. So what I'll do is this is actually kind of interesting. I will now I'm a little bit more polished when I have people come in. So what I do is I'll have the person that's coming in, I will tell them, hey, give me some topics that you want to hit. And then that way, when we get to it, we don't miss anything for one. And for two, I can form it in on my Google, as in I have this right here. This is my handy dandy little iPad. And I have it set up usually next to me when I'm interviewing the person so I can see my notes as I'm going and you don't really see it on the camera at all. So the one thing that's really nice about that is you don't have any dead space. Plus, you hit everything that they told you they wanted to hit. And ChatGPT is your friend because it can help you formulate a whole entire interview based on what topics they've given you and the order you should actually ask it in. So that's kind of a really nice feature as well, is use ChatGPT to your advantage when you can. Some people think it's kind of stupid, but I don't. It really helps formulate your notes. So the one thing is having an organization and then also staying in your time limits. And wrestling is the same way. When a promoter tells you you have 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 12 minutes. Now, granted, in the independent scene, probably doesn't matter as much. But the way I was trained to wrestle is you hit your marks, you hit your spots, and you hit your times. Otherwise, the bell will ding on you. That's what happened to us in training. Is the bell would ding on us if we ran over our time limit, and then you would just be done and you had to exit the ring. So, same with an interview. I try to keep them to about an hour, just like it seems like you're doing. That everyone has told me, all the feedback I get is keep it within a 1-ish hour time limit because that's all people can really stomach for listening and stuff of that nature. Now I'm different. I will listen if, like, let's just say Joe Rogan. I listen to him a lot. He has long, really long forms. But if someone's on that I'm interested in, I don't care if it's 3 hours because I listen to it in my vehicle when I'm driving. So I'll always be able to just pop it on when I'm going and then I'll stop it, 10 minutes in, or maybe I get 30 minutes in, but I want to listen to what someone has to say if I'm interested. So I also understand the other side of the coin too, is where I'm not bringing in major names onto my podcast at the moment, so it has to be within that form that everyone tells me, roughly an hour, so we can hold their attention span. So it's good that I feel like you're doing the same thing as well, but having some notes, that's kind of nice to have as well. And wrestling really does go hand in hand with it. You're in front of a camera, which I always film all mine. You have to be able to talk pretty good without a lot of ahs and ums, like I was telling you. And then you also have to try to stay in that time limit for your audience, because as you just stated a couple minutes ago, you need to listen to your audience. And that's what I did. One of my first podcast episodes, and Paul Ebner or Paul Knightley or Paul Daly, right?
I
He was
heard
my
of.
manager at one point.
Oh, yeah, I heard about him. I seen him. Yeah.
Okay, he's a big wrestling guy. And we had our one of my first episodes went 2 hours and 15 minutes. I can tell you, it did not go well. I hardly got any views on that one.
Oh, wow. But yeah, I hear what you say. And also too, Chris, um, like when I like doing like the interviews and whatnot, I try my best not to look at the camera. Let the camera look at you. And because if I just keep looking at the camera and whatnot, then it's like, oh, what's he's doing? So I someone had told me that once. I try not to look at the camera. I just look at, let the camera look at me, especially like when I'm interviewing the wrestlers in person at a
Mhm.
wrestling shows. I don't look at the camera. I let the camera look at me or look at the person I'm interviewing. And
And I
that's
definitely agree
probably
with
the
that.
reason why I get the more views on YouTube is because of that very reason. And at first, when I started doing this May 2013, um, I got a notebook and whatnot. I was interviewing three wrestlers and whatnot, and I was a little bit nervous at first, but afterwards, that's how I got my start.
Yep.
You gotta have butterflies in your stomach when it's like it's your first time doing an interview. You gotta have those butterflies in your stomach. But and then all the rest of the time, the rest is history, you know?
Yeah. Well, and the same thing applies when I'm doing mine for anybody that's wondering. I've got Brews and Crews podcast, and I do interview formats just like you do, but mine's literally on a couch. So normally we wouldn't be like this for the most part. Someone would be next to me on this side, and I always tell them when they come in because some people get a little nervous when they come in. There's a ring light, there's a camera set up, and they think, "Oh my gosh, what I get myself into?" Because I do have it pretty professional when people come in so they can just basically sit down and we can just start so I don't waste any of their time because their time is precious too. But I always tell them don't look at the camera unless you're trying to address something to someone that's listening or watching, then address the camera. Otherwise, like you were just saying, you don't need to look at the camera when you're doing interviews in person. And then that's usually what makes it more comfortable for everyone. They've always told me whenever I get done, they go, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was a little nervous at first, but then as we got going, the conversation just kept flowing. And I said, you don't even need to look at the camera. The camera's just there for people that want to watch it on YouTube. Otherwise, if you're listening to it in your car on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any of the other ones, nobody knows what we're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, you know. And that's what you just pointing out, you know, like unless you're watching it on YouTube and whatnot, or then so be it. But like I said, like when I do these interviews with these wrestlers and whatnot, I always said to myself, you know what, Michael? You got this. You got this. You've been doing this a long time. And I was like, you know, I'm going to do this interview with Royce Isaacs. I don't know if you heard of Royce Isaacs. He's a pro wrestler. I interviewed him last Saturday, and
Okay.
that interview will be up this Sunday at 7 p.m.
All right.
So I did my interview with Royce Isaacs. I didn't even look at the camera. We had a fun conversation, you know, and he's a pretty professional, and he wrestles all around the world. And I can't wait for people to see that part 1 interview, because part 2, which will be determined when part 2 comes, then I'm gonna finish the questions that I have for him, because I told him like I got a lot of questions to ask him. And I didn't want to bore people with, you know, because he only gave me 10 minutes. So I'm going to use those 10 minutes to do the interview and whatnot. And I timed it perfectly. And that's a lot of things. What you just mentioned, you know, you got this X amount of time to do this and that. So when someone gives you like 10 or 15 minutes or an hour of their time, you got to do your best to make it the most of it. You see
Yep,
what I'm
and
saying?
that's so true as well. Because I've done these interviews, like this one, the virtual style. It's not my favorite because I like the person when they're in person with you, but it's a little nerve-wracking because you have to wait for those cues when people are done talking. So like when we're doing this right now, I'm kind of anticipating when you're about done with your sentence, so I don't cut you off. And I know I've already done that a couple times, but I try not to do that to my people that are guests. And then if they are someone of a more of a celebrity status or they're not in person, I don't know them personally, I do ask them how long do we have so that way I watch my timer at the same time I'm doing the interview. So that's really nice. I got a question for you though. Has anybody not or anybody denied you from having an interview?
Yes.
Okay, I kind of figured
There's
that.
been, there's been a couple, maybe three. Um,
3 and 13 years.
three.
That's not
Yeah,
bad.
or three, or maybe a few. But
Yeah.
I there was this one wrestler. I want to bring up his name because um basically I asked Darren Corbin if he was interested in being on my podcast and whatnot.
Hmm.
And he said, and I just messaged him, and I think this was a couple years back. I asked him, like if I can just interview you soon, and um, he said like, oh, I don't think that would be such a great idea because, you know, I seen what you post online about some of the stuff that you said about these these promotions that he works for and whatnot. And um it sometimes, when I get angry or upset about some stuff, I say some stuff online that I really shouldn't have said. And I shouldn't be bad mouthing about the wrestling promotions that he works for. I felt that I did insult him by those negative comments, and that's probably the reason why he denied me. At first, I'm gonna be straight up honest. I was a little bit hurt by that, and I didn't know how to take it, because this was the first time in 13 years that I've been doing this that I've been denied. So it
Hmm.
was a shock to me. I didn't know how to control my emotions. And it got the best of me in August of 2024, on a week before my 40th birthday. And I said some things, and then right where a week goes, he kind of exposed me on the internet and whatnot, and it was just a crazy,
Yeah.
just a crazy. It was just like a crazy when you have a fallout with someone, especially on the internet. It's nerve wracking, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god. And it's like I said all these because I was hurt. I said some things. Said some. I was I was pretty much lying on the internet because I was so upset that he said no to my interview.
Sure.
I should have just, what I should have done, Chris, is I should have just let it go and move on.
Yeah.
But I let my emotions get the better of me. And I I feel so guilty, and I'm owning up to as a man. You got to own up your responsibilities. You got to take accountability for for your actions. And I'm taking accountability for my actions. And I actually made a public apology video at that time. So,
Well, that's you learn the hard way on that one, and that's okay. That's what all this is about. The one thing I always tell myself is when people come to listen to my podcast, that is, I always want it to be relaxing. I don't want it to ever have some sort of controversial. That's not really why I want people to listen. I kind of want people to listen for maybe so they learn something from someone or get a behind the scenes on something. Now, I've had people that have run for office and that are running for office come in and we talk about their platform. We don't talk about what I believe and what they believe. We just get into what they're doing, why they're running, and stuff of that nature. So I try to keep politics out of it as much as possible, unless they're running for office or they're into politics. That's the only time. But I like to get a behind the scenes look in, and that's the one thing that you just kind of learn the hard way of, you got to sometimes just kind of bury whatever you're feeling and just keep it out of the public eye. And it's just a learning process too. So that's good though. You owned up to it and you made a public apology. So, maybe someday he'll come back and do that.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, I I can't be everyone's cup of tea, you know,
No one ever is going to be.
because it's too much pressure, you know. That's the reason why I try to keep my circle of friends, especially in the restaurant business, kind of between small and medium. You get what I'm saying? Because if you have like too many people, then it can be stressful and whatnot. So I just try my best to, get along with everyone, and because you're this public guy. Because remember, I said I'm a public figure when it comes to going to wrestling shows and whatnot. So I gotta be careful of what I say, what I do, and how I carry myself.
That's good. Just be respectful and nobody can ever be mad at you. And if they are, it's their fault. So do you go to wrestling shows every single weekend?
Um. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like during I try like in the winter season, I try to limit myself from going to wrestling shows because of the weather and whatnot. But if there's like a big card, that I can't just give up, then I'll just go to that. Um, but like in the spring and summer, I try to go at least 3 or 4 times a month.
Okay. Now, I don't know when this is coming out, but for those who are listening, it's the 23rd of January and it's -8 with a wind chill of about -30. I assume you're not going to a show tonight?
Oh hell no.
Didn't think so. What about tomorrow? It's not going to be much better.
Yes, yes, I am. I'm going
You
to
are.
that. Like I said to you earlier, I'm going to that MIW show in
Okay.
Chanhassen, Minnesota, at the Chanhassen American Legion. Now tickets go on sale at 6 p.m. Doors open at 7 p.m. Bell time is at 8 p.m.
Got it. So, it's a question, when will this come out? When will this interview?
So this interview, um, this interview will probably not this Sunday, but the next Sunday.
Do yours always come out on Sundays?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is there a reason
Because
for that at all?
yes, and I can tell you this.
So tell me.
My main assistant, Carol Castle. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you heard of her.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yep.
blonde hair. She used to go to wrestling shows. Well, my main assistant told me, you know, you should like do your virtual interviews during the week and then post it on Sunday because Sunday is a new week when people don't have anything else to do. They can watch your episodes of Michael's Corner and whatnot, and just set it as a premiere and whatnot. Because it's like if you post it during the week, then you're not gonna get that many views during the week. And it's like just do it like on a Sunday, so then
Okay.
people can watch. And that's why I do it like every Sunday. Now, the only the only thing, unless if it's a holiday or whatnot, if it falls on a Sunday, if if it falls on a Sunday, if it's a holiday, then I will post that. I usually just post the episode the net like on a Monday, you know.
Okay. See, I started putting them on at 5 a.m. on Monday to start everyone's week off. Now, I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. That's just when I decided January 1st, 2024, first episode comes out at 5 a.m. It's a weekday, so when you wake up, it's already there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But I guess I could always structure it differently. I noticed that a lot of
Actually,
podcasts.
I'm gonna give you this tip. That's a good thing that you're doing that because when everyone gets up, that episode is already there, and that gives people time to watch it and whatnot.
Yep. I
So
always think they'll listen.
that's actually a good thing that you're doing that. Um, so
I always think that they'll get up in the morning on a work day and then they'll put it on in their car as they go. Whether they watch it or not, that's a different audience, I feel.
yeah, yeah, it's depending on the audience.
Mhm.
But again, as for me, um, I just you know, I like to post a new episode like every Sunday because Sunday is like a new week. And I feel like, and ever since I started posting new episodes on Michael's Corner, I've been getting tons of views.
That's good. That's good for you then.
And and that's what Carol Castle told me. And it's like she is working really hard to, get me, get people on my show. She'll reach out to some wrestlers and whatnot. And it's like, oh, Michael got this podcast going on. You should reach out to him. So she's working her tail off. I now have 3 assistants now.
Oh,
Assist,
nice.
you know, you want to grow your brand. Michael's Corner, I cause it's my not only it's my brand, it's my podcast as well. Because, I got all these people, you know, assisting me and they do a wonderful job. Like um Sean Knapp, he's my second assistant. He's the one that helps me at wrestling shows film film my interviews. He helps me, so I give him some instructions of what to do, press this, press that, and he does a fantastic job. And then my new assistant, Brock Brock Liner, he sells my wrestling T-shirts.
Okay.
Don't want to see me in Michael mode. I'll send you a picture of my T-shirt. You don't
How
want
did
to
you
see me in
how
Michael
did you
mode.
come up with the name Michael's Corner?
That's Oh my goodness. I don't think I ever told this to anyone.
Yeah, well, this is why I get into podcasting because I get questions that people sometimes have never got to answer before.
So what I came up with the name is it's a funny story how I came up with the name. So back when Kurt Allerholt was doing wrestling shows and whatnot, he asked me, you should come up, you interviewing all these wrestlers, you should come up with your name title, the name of your show. And I told Kurt, let me think about it. And I told him Michael's Corner.
All right.
And he loved the idea. And at first he's like, are you gonna start putting wrestlers in the corner? You damn right I'm gonna put wrestlers in the corner. Put them on a hot seat.
That's right. That's good though. I just kind of assumed it was because where the turnbuckle, they call it a corner of the ring, so I just kind of assumed that's probably what it was, but something like that.
It's something like, yeah, yep, it was that too. And yeah, maybe I'll put their ass in the corner. Yeah, if they do something wrong, put them in the corner. I'll put
Sure.
them on a hot seat.
Well, that's,
And
you know,
so,
well, so mine's just kind of mine's probably not as exciting. I just said, "Oh, I like beer and I have a bunch of cars in this garage here that I do the interviews at." And I was like, "Oh, Brews and Cruise. That's a great name. It rhymes and everything." And then thought to myself as I got going, I'm like, I can't talk about cars that much because I'm as much as I love them, I don't know enough detail about them or even boats or motorcycles. And same with the brews. I literally have people now come on and we have water. Someone requested, I think coffee is another one. I've had bourbon. I've had beer, obviously. I've had pop. So I have all these different things. And I always tell people, I always give them the disclaimer. It's not about cars or beer or anything like that, really. It's more of sit down, tell your story, or promote something, because that's mainly what it's turned into, which I'm really glad because I would have had a short-lived uh, podcasting career if I would have went down the one rabbit hole of talking about cars and talking about beers. We've been really short-lived, and that's what's actually made it so much fun. A lot of people they say we like it because we don't know what's coming next week. But then I've also read you're better off getting into a niche where people will, subscribe to you because they know what they're going to get. So I'm kind of in that area of I'm not a niche thing. I'm more of the you don't know what's coming up next week because you said this is going to air what, not this Sunday, but next Sunday?
mhm,
Okay, so the next day after this one airs, it will be a band. A band will be on. The lead singer and one of his roadies will be on. So, and then the week before that, it's a guy talking about how he overcame his autism diagnosis, and now he goes out and hosts trivia around the area in Winona here, and how he overcame that, and he's like a totally different person now. So, like, those are way different things that we're talking about in 2 different weeks.
mhm. And I'm glad you mentioned autism because I have told my story. I have told everyone that I have autism, and I think we should raise awareness of autism because even though I have autism, there are most days, Chris, that I even forgot that I have that disability. Everyone treating me the way treating me the same. They ain't treat me no different because of my disability.
That's good.
Hmm. And speaking of your podcast, if I ever am in your neck of the woods and there's like a wrestling show in Winona, I'll be sure to let you know because then then you're gonna ask me some questions.
That's right, because I want you here. I want you in the studio.
Yeah, and that's yeah. I love by the looks of it. I love the setup of your studio,
Here's what it
and
looks like.
oh my God, that's so beautiful. I like how you did it, man.
It's a fun place.
Yeah. So before we wrap up this interview, or whatnot, I gotta ask one more question. So so how is that child doing?
Oh, my baby, she is
Yeah.
so good. She just turned 8 months old as of this recording 3 days ago. So when this comes out, she'll be about 8.5 months old, and she is doing phenomenal. My wife and I have been blessed with a very, very good child. Her name is Lainey. So
Mhm.
this is actually a fun story. I like talking about my little girl. We had two names that we were going between, and we couldn't decide because we are struggling with girl names. Before we knew the gender, we're like, we got all these boys' names. We had plenty of boys' names. And my wife was like, oh, I got all these, the wise tales of I'm having this symptom, so it's going to be a boy. So we're thinking boy, boy, boy. And sure enough, it comes obviously girl. So then before she was born, we had all these names that I didn't like that she loved, and then vice versa. And then finally came up with two of them that we really liked. One was Lainey, which is her name, and the other one was Nora. And so the way we did this, we found a TikTok video that were you put the names on two tennis balls, or you could do three or however many, and you throw them out into the yard, and whatever one your dog brings back, that's what you name your baby. So we knew we wanted to do that, but then it just so happened 3 weeks before she was born, we found out that our dog that we love so darn much, he had aggressive liver cancer. And we found that out a Friday, and we had him overnight up in the city in Eau Claire for emergency services, up in St. Paul for emergency services. All said and done, it was like a $12,000 weekend, but we found out that we had to put him down, or he could have surgery, which would have had a 5% chance of working if it wasn't spreading too fast, which they said it probably is, and he could possibly die on the operating table, or you just give him meds and let him live out the last days of his life as best as possible. We chose the third option. We got meds and we just fed him whatever he wanted, basically, because I didn't want to lose him on the operating table where he dies and he doesn't get to see us as his last people. And I wasn't putting him down on the spot, that's for sure. So that Monday, that we came home with him on Saturday night, and then on Monday afternoon, we did the ball thing. We threw it out into our yard, and he brought back Laney's name. So we thought that was we loved him so much. I've told the story so many times I won't get teary eyed anymore, but we used to catch him. He would run up when we had her room. We are decorating it, and we got her crib up there and all that about 3 months beforehand. And we would catch him up there, laying next to the crib. It's like he almost knew that something was happening, like someone was coming here or someone was going to live here. So we thought, what better way than to let him pick out her name than by throwing the tennis balls into the yard? And he brought back Lainey, and then we kept that tennis ball, and now it's on her little shelf. And so that's how we came up with her name. And then her middle name is really kind of unique. It's Monroe, which is a kind of a guy's name. But my wife always liked gender neutral names. She really liked Logan for a girl's name. And I was like, as a former teacher, I didn't like that because when you look at the name on the sheet, you don't know if it's a boy or girl. I didn't want that. I said, how about we do the middle name something gender neutral? And then we both loved the name Monroe. And so that's how she got her name, Lainey Monroe Jacobson. So, but she's doing phenomenal. I mean, everyone tells us that she only cries when she's tired and she only whimpers or whines when she's hungry, and that's it. She loves being held by everybody. She loves being with grandpa and grandmas. She loves just jumping in her jumper. She smiles at everyone. So everyone tells us we've been very blessed with a really good child, and I can't wait to see what happens. But she's going on her first vacation, March 7th. She's going on a cruise.
Oh, wow.
So she'll be what, about 9.5 months old. She's going to go on a cruise.
Uh-huh. Um, yeah. How what was going through your mind when you lost both of your dogs? What was going through your head?
So when we lost our old guy, he was 15 and a half. So we saw that one coming. Still no easier. His name was Cooper. He was a little Basset Beagle. So we called him a Bagel because he was a mixture. So he's a Bagel. And he was a really easygoing dog, so simple to take care of. And then we could tell that he was kind of cognitively, he was losing his mind, quote unquote, meaning you could tell something was happening where he would kind of like stumble to the left or stumble to the right, and then he would kind of get in circle, he'd go in circles a little bit, and then we just had to make the decision like, "Hey, this is the time." With Jake, the English Mastiff we had, that one came out of nowhere. Um, During the week, we're like, man, he's just not eating as much as he normally does. But dogs get sick too. but you monitor it more because of the fact that dogs eat the same thing all the time for the most part. They get the same treats, they drink water, so not much really messes with their stomach. But we thought, oh, maybe he has like a stomach bug or something like that. It's not feeling good. And so didn't think much of it. Then a couple days later, he ate like normal, and then all of a sudden, it kind of did it again. And then my wife called me when I was teaching, and I was actually on a I was supposed to go on a class trip to Eau Claire, which just happened to be the place we had to take him for emergency services. She said he's not doing something's wrong, so they took him over to our vet in town here, and they said his liver enzyme levels are 14 times higher than high. And so we knew something was wrong. So we took him to emergency services immediately in Eau Claire. And then that weekend we spent up at St. Cloud and we found out that they said it's most likely spread to other organs. And he probably doesn't have much time left. And so we, what really sucks and what I wish could have at least happened is that he could have met his little sister at some point before that. I mean, it's not easy either way. I just wish he could have seen what he was laying next to because he kept laying next to her crib, like I said. I just wish he could have met her at least before we had to put him down because he didn't last but 5 days after we found out the diagnosis. And his urine was dark yellow, almost like a tan brownish color. And that's what happens when their livers start going. And he wouldn't really drink anymore, and the eating declined to pretty much nothing. And so we just had to make that decision. It was tough going through that while we're also pregnant because we're at the time of our life of we're so excited. We got this little girl coming on our way. We got our little family of four, three and a dog, and then all of a sudden just to have that taken away, um, it was really odd. It was tough. Put a lot of stress on my wife, that's for sure. So God bless her soul, because really, she really muscled through and kept it together as hard as it was. And then 3 weeks later, we're bringing in our little bundle of joy, which, you know, as you look at it, there's also pluses and minuses. We're brand new parents, so the stress of not having a dog made it very easy. But we would never give up any of that time. We would have rather had a dog and stressful than not have a dog and have the easier path. But it's just kind of the way it all worked out. And so then it kind of sucked because in my mind, I'm like, man, this is like, it felt like we're just forgetting about him. And because we got to move on to the next thing, which is our baby. But we never really have forgot about him. We got her a painting of both the dogs. It's right in her room, right next to her crib, so she can see the dogs that we would have had. And actually, just so happens, just 2 months ago, my aunt just passed away unexpectedly, and so my parents have inherited her dog, which will most likely become our dog because he's only 3 and he can live anywhere to the upwards of 18 years old. And my parents are 70. So I think eventually he'll be our dog because we weren't sure if we wanted to get another one. We're like, do we get another one or do we wait? I said, let's wait. We have to do this parenting thing down first. And then I said, maybe the right dog comes to us. Maybe there's a dog that really needs us. And I think maybe this is like where this happened to go to. We don't have like full custody of him, quote unquote. He's with my parents, but we literally live like 11 houses away from my parents. So I go and get him and take him into the office every day. So he's kind of part of our family, but not our family at the same time. And it's actually kind of nice. We have a dog, but we don't have the stress of having to feed him, take him out, wonder how well he's doing while we can still enjoy having the dog. So I said maybe this is the way it was supposed to be.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of losses, I yours truly has been dealing with a lot too. Um, I lost four, four, 4 or 5 people in the wrestling community, and and yeah, I don't know if you heard of Travis Sharp. Oh, when
Don't think
he
so.
when he died of mental health illness, you know, oh, uh, I I was in total shock. And then about 3 weeks ago, Saturday, Um, I broke down to tears, man. I have never. I felt it. I really felt it, and I just broke down in tears because Travis Sharp was one of my good friends and whatnot. And you know, it's like I was telling everyone, it is so important that you reach out to the people who you love and care about the most because you never know when it's the last time you're gonna see
Yep.
them or whatnot. And that's what I always did, you know. I reached out to the people like I really care about, like you and some other people and whatnot. And it's like, if you don't reach out to the people you love and you care about so much, and I said this at a funeral about 2 weeks ago. I said this at a funeral. If you don't reach out to the people you care about so much, you're only hurting the person sitting next to you.
Sure, sure. Yeah, you got to reach out. Even a hello or a how you doing today kind of text message. As much communication as we have in the world, there's really no reason why you can't.
Yeah, and it's yeah. Even if it's reach out to someone, even if it's like how you doing, and that's what I do to to the people who I care about. I say, hey, how you doing, or how you holding up, because you never. And I do try to respect the boundaries of the wrestlers, because they do want to keep their wrestling life separate from other things.
Hmm.
And I gotta respect their wishes. And I think I have a hard time when it comes to that. And I'm still working on it. And we all make mistakes, and we just gotta live and we gotta learn and we gotta grow. And then that's all part of growing.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there, bud.
Yeah. So Chris, where can people follow you on social media as well as your podcast?
Well, thank you very much. I really like to plug this. Uh, I've been working my tail off for just over 2 years for those who are listening. I'm on my third, I just started my third year. Podcast came out January 1st of 2024, and I have done literally one has come out every single week on Monday, 5 a.m. since in over 2 years now. So that was always my goal is to keep it as consistent as possible. I know people say that doesn't really matter as much these days, but I think it does because people can expect that. I got something coming out, but I'm glad you asked me where they can find me. You can find me on YouTube, literally Brews and Crews. This is the logo. I don't know if I'll keep this logo forever, but because obviously it kind of signifies beer if you're watching, kind of signifies that all I talk about beer. And I don't just do that as you notice I'm having whiskey right now. But you can find me on YouTube at Brews and Crews Podcast. You can find me on Facebook, Brews and Crews Podcast. You can find me on Instagram. It's not the one I use the most, but I try. TikTok is the same thing. Or if you just go right to my website, brewsandcrewspodcast.com, you can literally go and click on every spot I'm on because I'm on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, all the major ones I'm on for them as far as I know. I just know that I look at my analytics and most of them come from Apple and Spotify, so I really push those ones because I feel like no matter if you have a Samsung or an Android or an Apple phone, those are the two you're going to hit up either way. I don't know how many people listen to iHeartRadio, but I've been working my tail off. I'm on this week coming out. Well, when will this will come out in 2 weeks from now, roughly? That'll be like
Yeah, this
episode
will come out roughly
114.
2 weeks.
Yeah, this will be like one episode 114 will be coming out. And I've done there was one time I took my mics on the road with me and we went to Sturgis on our motorcycles, my buddies and we did one recording every single day. We were out there for 5 days straight and then a summary. So there were six in a row. So it doesn't match up, but there's always one coming out on Monday for sure, no matter what.
Oh, and I forgot to ask you this. This is what Chris Van Leek always ends his interviews with, and I
Okay,
want to start doing this now.
let's do it.
What are the three things you most grateful for?
Things I'm most grateful for.
Yeah, grateful for.
That's a good question and nobody really asks that I am aware of. And I have to say, I am very grateful for my family, and that means both my wife's side and my parents and our little family that we just created. Very grateful for them. Next one, I'm very grateful for my health. So that's two. And my third one that I am thankful for is those who are closest to me, the support that they give me. That's a very grateful thing because there's a lot of people out there, and you probably know this firsthand, Michael, that they don't maybe support what you're trying to do. Something like this. This is this takes people in your corner, pun intended, Michael. It takes people in your corner and my corner and everybody who's trying to do something like this. It takes their support in order to make it something. And it's something that you and me clearly love to do is talk to people. And so getting people to support you, my parents support this more than I was really expecting. They literally watch every single Monday night. That's their thing. They go home and they watch the interview. Now, sometimes it takes them maybe 2 days to get through, but they will go and watch it. So I do have a really good support system around me for those things. So, family, my health, and the support around me, I'm very thankful for those three things because otherwise this wouldn't be possible.
Yeah. Okay, Chris, thank you so much for doing this with me. And can you do me one huge favor? Let's not wait 4 years to do this.
Michael, anytime you want me to be on Michael's Corner, I am always glad to be on. But I really can't wait for you to come down to Winona sometime because I want you. I mean, we could do this, but
Yeah,
it's just so much better when you're in person here and
yeah,
to have that face-to-face connection. Because I remember the first time we did this, we were literally face-to-face at a table before one of my shows.
yes,
Yep.
yes. And that was, and I gotta admit, that was really fun, you
Yeah, I
know?
see it's so much more fun in person.
Yeah. So let's set that up. If let me get a hold of my people because I really do want to get down there.
Yeah.
If I'm ever in Winona, it's like I may have to stay overnight over there. So then that way I could check out your studio. Cause I gotta check out your studio and maybe
Yeah.
do one of these, and you put me on the hot spot.
I would love to put you on the hot spot because I have so many other questions for you. I asked you a lot of questions actually tonight, but I have so many more I can ask you. But it's so much more fun having you in person and having anybody in person. You just get like a connection that we don't get through the computer. However, this is very nice that you're able to do this and we're back and forth like this. Because I'm literally when I'm on the computer, it's like you're sitting right next to me across the table. So it's not that awkward, but it's way better having you on the couch next to me and having fun and taking in this whole place as well as kind of a fun aspect. So next time you're down here, there'll always be a spot for you on the couch with me.
Okay, thank you, Chris. You have a wonderful evening, and show that child some love for me.
I will. Appreciate it, Michael. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Cheers.
Cheers.